All right, thanks, guys. We are once again 6-1 in our last 7 daily best plays on my website at patreon.com/brockpage. Memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. Link for that site is in the description section below. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some college basketball action. We're going to start with Furman taking on Wofford, and that's going to be the Paladins taking on the Terriers. 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Wofford. Furman's -3 on the road. Total at 138. We did see a half a point fade of Furman and movement downward on the total. The Paladins open as the 3.5 point favorite, down to -3. Total open 139.5, down to 138. 61% of the consensus are leaning toward Furman. 71% shaded toward the under. And right now, Wofford is plus 145 at home. Now, if you like Wofford in this matchup here, they've been very good on their home court this year. 7-1 straight up at home, 3-2 against the spread in their last 5 ball games. They're averaging 73 points per contest. Meanwhile, they're shooting 37.3% from downtown. They rank in the top 25 in home scoring, top 15 in home field goal percentage. They're averaging 87 points per contest in the friendly confines. They're also shooting 52% from the field at home, and they're shooting 43% from downtown on their home court. Nathan Hoover, 14 points a game, 4 rebounds, and Storm Murphy, 13 points per contest for the Wofford Terriers. Murphy's also shooting 44% from beyond the arc. Now, Furman on the other side, they failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 straight. They're also just 3-5 ATS in their last 8. Now, 7 out of Furman's last 9 games did get over the number. They're also 11-6 to the over in their last 17. Meanwhile, Wofford, 5 out of their last 6 home games got over the number as well. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me Wofford +3 and the over 138 in that game. Next matchup, Fairfield taking on Iona, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Iona's -4, total at 132.5. We did see a half a point fade of Iona and movement upward on the total. Iona opened 4.5, down to -4. Total open 129, up to 132 and a hook. 53% are leaning Fairfield, 59% shaded toward the under. And right now, Fairfield is plus $1.65 on the money line. Now, they're one of the better covering teams in the nation. Fairfield's 12-4 against the spread overall for the year. They're also 8-2 against the number away from home. That's good for 80%. They rank in the top 30 in defensive rebounding. They're also giving up just 62 points per contest. Landon Taliaferro, 14 points a game for Fairfield. He's also shooting 93% from the stripe. And Jesus Cruz, 12 points a game, 4 rebounds for Fairfield. They rank in the top 35 in points allowed on the road as well. Top 40 in defensive rebounding on the road. They're giving up just 64 points per contest when traveling. Now, Iona on the other side, losers of 6 out of their last 7. They also covered just 20% of their games in their last 10. They lost to Niagara, Monmouth, and Princeton during that losing skid. They're averaging just 67 points per contest. They're also shooting just 41% from the field. Now, 3 out of Iona's last 3 games all stayed under the number. Meanwhile, Fairfield, 11-5 to the under in their last 16. I'm going to lean Fairfield +4 and the under 132.5 in that contest. Next matchup, Dayton taking on St. Louis, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Dayton Flyers are -7.5 away from home, total at 138. We saw a 1-point fade of the Flyers and movement downward on the total. Dayton open 8.5, down to -7.5. Total open 139, down to 138. 52% are leaning Dayton, 54% shaded toward the under. Right now, St. Louis is plus 280 on the money line. Now, the Billikens are 6-1 straight up in their last 7. They rank in the top 25 in offensive rebounding. Jordan Goodwin, 16 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 2 steals for this St. Louis squad. Hassan French, 13 points a game, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks. And Javante Perkins, 11 points a game, 4 rebounds for St. Louis. The Billikens are 10-1 straight up at home. They're giving up just 64 points per contest. Now, Dayton, on the other side, they failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 8. Failures to cover against the likes of St. Joe's, Northern Florida, and North Texas. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Dayton's last 4 games did get over the number. They're also 5-2 to the 5-2 to the over when traveling. So let's try that again. Just want to make sure I said it correctly. Dayton 3-1 to the over in their last 4, 5-2 to the over away from home. Meanwhile, 4 out of St. Louis's last 6 games got over the number as well. They are 70% to the over at home. I'm going to lean St. Louis plus 7.5 and the over 138 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Friday's college basketball action. Happy Friday to you guys. The weekend is finally here. A much-deserved Friday for you. Now, before we go ahead and dive into some more free lines of personal leans right here on YouTube, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different membership tiers and packages that you can subscribe to on that website. Now, we are currently 6-1 in our last 7 daily best plays on that website. That daily best play is just $1.99 for the rest of the month. And like I said, there's a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would I buy a package when you're just giving me the picks for free here on YouTube? And that's certainly a great thought, a great concern, and you're exactly right. I do free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube in hopes that you would just check me out or consider checking me out on Patreon. Basically, this YouTube program, kind of like a big commercial, but really, if you think about it, that's exactly what I do. I handicap every single game on the board, side and total. I do you the favor of formulating an opinion on every single game. I don't take free passes. I don't say, oh, this is a stay-away game, or, oh, I'm going to take the underdog or pass. I don't confuse you like that. I give you an opinion on every single game. I owe that to you. You give me your time. I owe it to you to give you an opinion on a side. But here's the problem with that. If you were going to bet every single game on the board, side and total, with your hard-earned money, it's just a losing formula. You can't win. You're definitely not going to win in the long run. And as a matter of fact, you're probably going to end up losing in the short run as well. The more games you bet, the more sides and totals you bet, just the more egregious the math and the odds are against you. So what we do on Patreon, I make life easy for you. I break it down into 3 to 4 premium picks, premium selections per day. They're high percentage selections, games that I personally have action on. You don't have to do all the thinking and the research. I do it for you. And basically, I'll tell you this much. My current Patreon record is a lot better than it is here on YouTube, throwing darts, handicapping every single game on the board, side and total. And if you're curious and you want to check out my current record, you can do that right now for free. My current record is right on the homepage. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, we got some heavy hitters to close out the show, so let's go ahead and dive into our next game. I'm talking about Wisconsin taking on Michigan State. 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Spartans are minus 9.5 total at 130 and a hook. We saw a half point move towards Sparty and movement upward on the total. Michigan State opened 9 up to minus 9.5. Total open 129 up to 130 and a hook. 53% of the consensus are leaning toward Wisconsin. 56% shaded toward the under. And right now, Wisconsin's plus 415 on the money line. Now, if you like the Badgers in this matchup here, they are ranking in the top 15 in the nation in points allowed. They're also in the top 45 in defensive rebounding. The Badgers have won 6 out of their last 7 games. Victories against the likes of Maryland, Penn State, Ohio State, and Tennessee. A very impressive record there. A very impressive resume for this Badger squad. Nate Roivers, 14 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks for the Badgers. Kobe King, 11 points. He's also shooting 50% from the field. Now, Wisconsin ranks in the top 10 in points allowed on the road as well, and they're giving up just 59 points per contest away from home. Now, 3 out of Michigan State's last 4 games did stay under the number. I do like the underdog in this matchup here. I'm going to lean Wisconsin plus 10 after buying the half a point, and the under 130.5 in that contest. Next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Michigan taking on Iowa, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Hawkeyes are the 4.5-point favorite, total at 149. We saw a 1-point move toward Iowa and movement upward on the total. The Hawkeyes open 3.5 up to -4.5. Total open 146.5 up to 149. Right now the Wolverines are plus $1.90 on the money line. Now Michigan really struggling as the road team this year. 0-4 straight up as the official road team. They also failed to cover the point spread in each and every one of those 4 defeats. Now Michigan, losers of 4 out of their last 7 games. Meanwhile, Iowa on the other side, 6-2 straight up in their last 8 themselves. Victories against Maryland, Cincinnati, and Minnesota during that stretch. Iowa ranks in the top 30 in scoring. They're averaging 79 points per contest. Big Luka Garza, 22 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. Joe Wieskamp, 15 points a game, 6 rebounds for the Hawkeyes. And C.J. Frederick, 10 points a game, 3 assists. He's shooting 49% from downtown. And C.J. Frederick, good to see him potentially back in action as he has been upgraded to probable for tonight's game. That's not good news for Michigan backers. Now, total-wise, Iowa's 7-1 to the under in their last 8. 7 out of their last 8 home games also stayed under the number as well. I'm going to lean Iowa -4.5 and the under 149 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We're also 6-1 in our last 7 daily best plays on that site. Shout out to Johan Koo, Carlos Romero, Stephen Lewis, a.k.a. Dr. Bankroll. Shout out to Jordan Mayle, Kenneth Barneycastle, Jacob Todd, Pittsburgh Gentleman, PA, Dr. Vidingsvig. Shout out to Richie Rich, Rocco's Pizzeria, John Doe, Vernon Williard from Pennsylvania. Shout out to Aunt Rod. And last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to Penny Kemp. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later today on patreon.com/BrockPage.